Hi, I'm Curious Vedanth, and welcome to season 2 of my podcast. Today, my guest is Beverley, who is a third year student at Yale-NUS College in Singapore, pursuing environmental studies as a major and a minor in philosophy. She is the co-founder of GreenCheck, a climate action nonprofit. She is passionate about environment and social justice. Hi, Beverly. Welcome to my show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Beverly, I'm curious to know, what is philosophy?
Well, I think if you ask different people, they'll give you different answers. But to me, philosophy is about critical thinking. And so philosophy is what we use to find answers to questions that can help us understand our lives and our realities a little bit better.
Can you please give me some examples on philosophy?
Sure. So there's different branches of philosophy. So some people there's the philosophy of science, which is, the kind of science that you study in school, probably. But there's also philosophy that deals with questions like, what is the meaning of life? Questions like, what happens after death? So I think there's a lot of different branches of philosophy. So I don't think I can just boil it down to one, but these are some of the examples. Because I think philosophy is just about trying to understand a little bit more about different subject areas, understand and find answers to different questions.
Since you work on the environment and you're a philosopher, is there a philosophy on helping environment and taking care of animals?
Oh, definitely. There is. I think one thing that I really enjoy, one philosophy that I keep very close to my heart when I do environmental activities is an indigenous concept, actually, an indigenous philosophy that everything is very connected. So humans, animals, plants, everything, we're all interconnected. And so making sure that we're healthy also means making sure that our planet is healthy. And so thinking about how we can show love and care to one another, to animals, and to our planet.
I'm already starting to use less plastic to save the environment. And so I'm using reusable straws whenever I go out and metal straws that we've bought.
Ooh, yeah. That's great. I have a few metal straws myself too.
Can you give me some examples of interconnectedness?
Interconnectedness?
Yeah.
Sure. So, for example, so when the climate, so we have climate change, right? And so one of the things about climate change is that sea levels rise and there's a lot more rainfall and there's a lot more extreme weather events like monsoons. So that means not just, the sea levels are rising and there's more rain in general, which means there's, more water and more rain in different parts of the world, but it also means things for people. So when all these things are happening to the planet, the interconnectedness comes in how floods would take place with heavier rainfall, and that will affect people. And it'll also cause the spread of waterborne diseases. And so that's an example of interconnectedness where something happens in nature that affects humans that can also go back to impact nature again.
It's been raining a lot lately in Singapore. Is that because of climate change or is that just how it is?
Well, there's yes and no. So we are in the rainy season right now, so that we can expect a lot of rain, but climate change definitely has a part to play in kind of the sheer amount of rain that we've had. We've had rain nonstop for days, and climate change definitely has at least a little bit of a part to play in that.
Yeah. Can you tell me more about the nonprofit that you have co-founded?
Sure. So I co-founded it with 4 friends, and it's called GreenCheck. So what we do is we look at groups tackling climate change in their communities in Southeast Asia and Latin America, and we help them get donations, help them better their skills, help them connect with donors and other groups taking action against the climate change. So we want to really help these groups because we're all in this together, and we want to see where will be how we can help these groups grow and help them create the impact that they want to create.
Why only Southeast Asia and Latin America? There's also lots of climate change in other places. Why are you focusing on only these two?
You're absolutely right. So climate change affects everyone, but we chose these two areas specifically for two reasons. One, because we have a lot of connections already within these two regions. So this would be a good starting point for us. Eventually, we do hope to expand to reach other parts of the world. But also, we think that there's a lot of potential in Southeast Asia and Latin America in the sense that there's a lot of groups that could use funding, that can use connections and a network to achieve their goals and to help combat climate change.
What are some of the organizations you work with?
So far, we haven't confirmed any of our partner organizations. We're actually in the process of confirming them. So by the end of next month, if you ask me again, I'll be able to give you some examples. But right now, we're looking at groups that do advocacy work, which means they promote and encourage climate action, either to the general public or to governments. But also, we're also looking at climate action groups that do specific solutions. So thinking about maybe specific's not the right word, but they do projects like coral restoration because corals are being affected by climate change and they're dying out. Or thinking about renewable energy and things like that. So there's a huge broad spectrum of groups that we hope to work with, but as of right now, we haven't confirmed any of them.
Climate change is really sad because I've always wanted to go to like very icy places like Antarctica and all of those places, but sadly all the ice is melting there.
Well, you can still go and visit them. The ice is definitely melting, but I don't think that should stop you from going to see these places if you want to see them.
Is there a link where my listeners can donate to GreenCheck?
Right now, our website isn't live, but I will keep you updated so your listeners can come and donate to our wonderful partner groups that we will have, and so that you can also contribute to doing your part to help fight climate change.
What can me and my listeners do to help contribute?
Apart from helping GreenCheck, you can also support other local climate action groups. You can also do exactly what you're doing, so cutting down on plastic, using metal straws. But also there's other things like only buying what you need so that you don't create unnecessary waste. You can also, I think this is really important, you can also write letters and emails to our ministers encouraging them to take climate action because they have a lot of power to make big changes and do a lot of good. So we should encourage them to do so.
Yeah, I think the government is already aware, but to make them more aware and ask them to like reduce the amount of plastic bags a lot, I think that would be a good idea.
I think so too. You should write an email or write a letter to them.
And also Singapore is filled with lots of one-time use plastic, like in hawker centers, the plastic bags they give you to take away in the hawker centers. I think even the hawker centers should stop using that.
Yeah, they can do their best. We can also do our best by bringing our own cutlery, our own containers. So similar to metal straws, right? We can bring our own forks and spoons, our own bowls, and then the hawker center aunties and uncles can put our food in these bowls so that they don't have to use the plastic.
Me and my parents already we already take our own cutlery.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. What got you interested in environmental issues?
Well, when I was younger, I've always liked animals. I really, really loved animals, and I would read lots of books on them. And I've also always liked being in nature. So thinking about being in rainforests, exploring parks. And so when I found out about climate change and pollution, I knew I had to do something, and I wanted to protect these animals and protect all the greenery that I love so much. But right now, it's also, I realize, because of the interconnectedness that we talked about, that it also affects people. So that's how I got interested in environmental issues.
Even I really love animals and nature. That's why almost every weekend me and my parents go on nature trails and to nature parks.
Wow, that's really great. What's your favorite nature trail that you've been on so far?
Probably all of them.
All of them? Yeah, nature trails are really, really fun. So I understand why you can't pick just one.
What do you want to pursue after university?
I'm not too sure yet, but right now I'm looking at doing graduate school for environmental management or environmental studies. But I might work for a few years before doing graduate to pursue a graduate degree. So we'll see how it goes.
Was it hard to get into Yale-NUS College, or was it a bit easy?
I think it really varies from person to person. But for me, I really enjoyed the application process. The interviewer that I had to get into Yale-NUS College was really, really friendly. So I think for me, it was really an enjoyable process. I wouldn't say easy because I had to study really hard for my A levels in order to get in. But I think, yeah, I think it's definitely very doable.
What are your hobbies?
I really like painting and hanging out with my friends, and I used to play a lot of football. Do you play any sports?
I play cricket.
Ooh, I don't know how to play cricket, but I know a lot of my friends do, and they say it's really, really fun.
That really, really is fun. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
You're welcome. This was really, really nice talking to you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. Like I said in the beginning, I hope I learned a lot. I learned a lot.
That's great. That's really, really great to hear.
Dear listeners, follow my Facebook page, Curious Vedanth, to get updates on my upcoming episodes. To listen at leisure on your phone and get notified about future episodes, subscribe by searching for Curious Vedanth wherever you get your podcasts, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can also listen to my show on curiousvedanth.com. Thank you for listening to Curious Vedanth, and don't forget to rate and leave comments.